What drinking cider really does to your body. Turns out the Wurzels aren't as silly as they look. Their tipple of choice, cider/telegraph.co.uk/food and drink/drinks and /7 delicious reasons to splash your cash on fine cider, isn't the brain-rotting, paint-stripping firewater it was once taken to be. In fact, it contains healthy compounds. As far back as 2006, researchers at the University of Glasgow were exploring whether an apple cider a day could keep the doctor away. While findings of their study were not made public, it was discovered that English cider, https://food/drink/the 24-pound British cider that rivals champagne, apples contained antioxidants linked to protection against stroke and heart disease. Certain types of cider made from fresh apples can offer some health benefits due to their antioxidant and polyphenol content, says Sam Rice, a Telegraph nutritionist. These plant chemicals can help protect against cell damage and inflammation, potentially reducing the risk of certain diseases. Good news for cider drinkers? Unfortunately, while experts say that the tipple does indeed contain some healthy ingredients, overall, the harms caused by the alcohol in a pint outweigh any positives. Yet it hasn't put off a new generation of younger cider drinkers. Not so long ago, the aforementioned musical combo, an English scrumpy and western band, sung merrily about cider's ability to send West Country yokels doolally. For years it was associated with heavy drinkers. Speaking of heavy drinkers, due to its ability to withstand high alcohol content while remaining palatable. That's ancient history now, after a cider revival kick-started by the Magners' Cider Over Ice campaign in the mid-2000s, which established cider as a popular summer drink. Today, according to Weston's 2025 cider report, the beverage is worth £2 billion to UK pubs, bars, and restaurants, and has been growing faster by value than any other alcohol category for several years. Meanwhile, the UK remains the world's largest per capita consumer of cider, with 840 million litres consumed in 2023, valued at £3.25 billion. But are there really health benefits to cider? Or is it just a myth? We look at how the leading brands compare and break down the pros and cons below. Skip 2. Are there healthiest leading ciders and the ones to avoid? Are there health benefits of cider? What are the health risks? How do different types of cider compare? FAQs. The healthiest leading ciders and the ones to avoid. Sam Rice, Telegraph nutritionist verdict. In reviewing the healthiness of some of the leading ciders, what we can compare is the sugar content. Consuming too much sugar is a driver of poor metabolic health, leading to weight gain, insulin resistance, and other issues that increase the risk of conditions like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. The alcohol by volume, ABV, expressed as a percentage, is another place to look for clues. With the current recommended alcohol limit set at 14 units a week, the units clock up alarmingly quickly on a sunny afternoon in the beer garden. Here's how our test ciders stack up. Strongbow Original Flavor, apple-based dry. Alcohol, ABV 4.5%, 2 units per 440 milliliters. This cider stalwart is middle of the pack for sugar content, but being made from apple concentrate reduces the polyphenol and fiber content compared with cider made from fresh apples. Strongbow Gold Apple Flavor, apple, sweet. Alcohol, ABV 4.5%, 1.5 units per 330 milliliters. This is a big health no-no on account of the whopping 7 grams of sugar per 100 milliliters. That's nearly 6 tablespoons per bottle, about 2/3 the amount in Coca-Cola. Inches Medium Apple Flavor, apple, mainstream. Alcohol, ABV 4.5%, 2 units per 440 milliliters. This cider was at the higher end for sugar, and again, is made from apple concentrate. Unless you are particularly taken with the taste, there are better options from a health perspective. Thatcher's Gold Flavor, apple, medium dry. Alcohol, ABV 4.8%, 2.1 units per 440 milliliters can. As a large-scale producer, apple concentrate is used for volume and consistency. But that means we miss out on some of the potential health benefits, such as vitamins and minerals. This cider also has a slightly higher ABV than some of the others tested. Weston's Vintage Flavor, Apple, Alcohol, ABV 8.2%, 4.1 units per 500 milliliter bottle. While not the worst offender when it comes to sugar, just look at the alcohol. One bottle of this is just under a third of your weekly unit allowance. Stowford Press Flavor, Apple, Alcohol, ABV 4.5%, 2 units per 440 milliliters can. Stop the Stowford Press. We have a winner. Just 30 calories and 1 gram of sugar per 100 milliliters. If we're thinking about damage limitation, which is really the name of the game when it comes to alcoholic drinks, then this would be my choice. Capel Road Flavor, Apple, Alcohol, ABV 5.2%, 1.7 units per 330 milliliters. This cider has a craft look about it, but it's actually from the Weston stable of ciders. It is made from fresh apples, so there should be more in the way of those beneficial plant chemicals. But the higher ABV of this product likely offsets any small benefits. Weston's Medium Sweet Flavor, Sweet Apple, Alcohol, ABV 4.5%, 2.25 units per 500 milliliter bottle. As the name implies, this cider has a large amount of residual sugar, over 6 teaspoons per bottle. This is the total daily upper limit recommended by the NHS, so it's definitely one to drink sparingly. Strongbow Dark Fruit Flavor, Fruit Alcohol, ABV 4.0%, 1.8 units per 440 milliliters can. Slightly lower in alcohol than the other ciders tested. But as you might suspect of a fruit-flavored cider, it doesn't fare so well on sugar content. Along with the concentrated fruit juices, this cider also contains colorings and flavorings. There are better options out there from a health point of view. Weston's Old Rosy Flavor, Scrumpy Style Alcohol, ABV 6.8%, 2.2 units per 330 milliliter serving. With one hand, it takes with the other. It is the second lowest in sugar, but the second highest in alcohol of the ciders tested. Unless you love the taste, choose something with a lower ABV. Back to Index. Are there health benefits of cider? Mark Gilbert is a nutritionist for the 1-to-1 Diet by Cambridge Weight Plan. He warns that the presence of alcohol will make excessive consumption. https www.telegraph.co.uk/news 2024-422 Alcohol deaths reach record high following pandemic. Unhealthy. However, putting alcohol to one side, he explains, apples, even after fermentation, contain organic acids and polyphenols and very small amounts of vitamins and minerals, which have been shown to have beneficial health properties. Polyphenols include quercetin, which is particularly high in apples and which has been shown to reduce inflammation and may be good for heart health. There is not enough published research on cider to say whether it is more or less healthy than wine or beer. https telegraph.co.uk/food and drink/features drink food pairing, not wine sake, beer cider, non-alcoholic. But it stands to reason that healthy fruits, like the grapes and apples that make up wine and cider respectively, would be more healthful than beer or other grain-based alcoholic drinks. He also lists caffeic acid, an antioxidant, catechins, which have anti-inflammatory effect, and chlorogenic acid, CGA, which may mitigate the effects of the high sugar content of cider, as it can reduce reactions where proteins are damaged by excess sugar. Binny Suresh, a spokesperson for the British Dietetic Association and head of dietetics at Cleveland Clinic London, warns that although cider contains flavonoids and phenolic acids, which have been associated with reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, improved vascular function, and anti-inflammatory, https www.telegraph.co.uk/nutrition anti-inflammatory diet guide properties. The content of these compounds in cider is considerably lower than in fresh apples or raw apple juice. One study shows that fermentation can reduce total phenolic content by up to 50%, she says. Additionally, commercial filtration and pasteurization further decrease antioxidant levels. As for vitamins, while cider may contain trace amounts of vitamin C and some B vitamins, they are generally not present in significant quantities after fermentation. Suresh adds, while cider retains some antioxidant content, https www.telegraph.co.uk/health-fitness/diet/nutrition/type 2 diabetes. Its nutritional value is modest compared to whole apples. So what are the health risks? All alcohol can be considered a risk to your health. Alcohol/https www.telegraph.co.uk/health/alcohol/women. But I do feel so alive when I create. Itself is classified as a Group 1 carcinogen by the World Health Org and contributes to oxidative stress, says Suresh, as well as the usual run of health issues. The sugar content, particularly in sweetened ciders, can contribute to weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and tooth decay. How do different types of cider compare? Organic versus non-organic. Organic production may mean that higher quality yeasts and fewer additives, and they contain a higher quality yeasts and fewer additives https, such as sulfites, are used in the production process, potentially helping the cider to retain more healthy constituents and avoid unwanted ingredients. The avoidance of herbicides and pesticides is always beneficial. But from a nutrient perspective, organic ciders aren't conclusively more nourishing. A 2014 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that organic produce may have slightly higher antioxidant levels, but according to Suresh, the difference was not clinically significant. Brewing methods. Some producers discuss their product's gluten-free status, antioxidant levels, and state that their ciders are healthier than beer. But the evidence to support this is anecdotal, says Gilbert. Suresh adds that while slow-fermented ciders often have higher polyphenol content, especially if they are unfiltered or aged in oak barrels, the alcohol content usually remains the same. So any added benefit is minimal and should not outweigh alcohol risks. What about scrumpy? Often made using traditional methods with minimal intervention, scrumpy may retain more natural apple polyphenols without added sugar. It is usually unfiltered and less processed, but it can also be much stronger in alcohol and inconsistent in composition, especially with homemade or farmhouse varieties. It carries unique risks due to the lack of quality control, warns Suresh. Low-sugar versions. Suresh advises to look for dry, brewed, or unsweetened ciders. https://telegraph.co.uk Food and drink, wine, 3 English ciders perfect autumnal drinking, which typically contain less residual sugar. Low-sugar ciders are better for blood sugar control, calorie intake, reducing dental erosion. They are often also lower in overall calories, she adds. Opt for small batch or traditional ciders, which may retain more natural compounds and avoid added sugars. The verdict: can cider be considered to be healthy, especially when compared to other tipples? Yes, and sadly, no. Cider may be a less harmful option among alcoholic drinks if you choose a dry, traditionally fermented variety with no added sugars. https://telegraph.co.uk Health, Fitness, Diet, Nutrition, the hidden sugar in everyday foods. But it is not a health-promoting beverage. It should be consumed only within the UK guidance, concludes Suresh. Back to Index.